Record. All right, today I'm going to talk to you about mindset. I'm going to talk to you about skill set. And all of you have heard before that success is 90% mindset. In other words, how we think matters. However, we're going to really spend most of our time on the 10% skill set because that part matters as well. It matters a lot. First of all, a couple of things I want you to write down in reference to mindset is our choices have made us what we are today. My choices have made me what I am today. Our thinking creates a pathway to success or failure. You know, when I hear that, and I'm not talking temporary failure, like going to the plate and striking out. Well, if that's the only time you ever go to the plate and the Major League and play in Major League Baseball, then yeah, okay, you failed. But you're going to get up there again and again and again and again. And failure is quitting. It's not striking out. So get it in the right perspective. Our thinking creates a pathway to success or failure. Outside influences are not responsible for where you are in life. You alone have chosen the path to your present destination. All right, so if 90% of success is mindset, does that mean I will reach 90% of my goals if I just focus on changing the way I think? And the answer is, of course, it doesn't. No more than baking a cake with 90% of the ingredients will taste 90% as good as it could. Just think of one ingredient that you're missing, right? You're baking this cake and you're missing an ingredient and you decide to substitute it with something else. Oh my gosh. You might have a total disaster on your hands. And it's because you left out one ingredient or you substituted one ingredient. And no, you didn't actually jump on the wrong call this morning. This is not a coaching call on baking. It's an analogy. All right. I have 15 things that I want to talk to you about today. 15 skill sets that I would focus on if I were you. Number one, scripts and dialogues. Are you shocked? You shouldn't be. Master the conversations of real estate. You know, so many agents who say, I don't like scripts. I don't want to sound scripted. I don't want to be robotic. So don't. When you've mastered the conversations of real estate, it's not a script, it's a conversation. Now, learn your scripts and then customize them so that they best fit who you are. In other words, learn the scripts that I'm teaching you and then customize them so they best fit who you are. But this is time on the driving range. If you are a professional golfer and you think you're going to win a PGA tournament and you're going to spend zero time on the driving range, then you're kidding yourself. Your driving range is the time you spend practicing and mastering and role-playing your real estate scripts and dialogues. It's PDR, practice, drill, rehearse. Okay, number two, lead generation through a database is skill set. And it's a skill set that a lot of you are ignoring. Now, how do I know that? Because I talk to real estate agents, thousands of real estate agents. And one of the questions I ask is, tell me about your database. And most of the time I'm hearing, what do you mean? Or I don't have a database, or I'm using Excel, or this is my database. Okay, you have this tool, your CRM, that is a critical piece to your success. Learn how to use it and use it. Number three, closing for the appointment is a skill. Now, it doesn't have to be difficult. Something as simple as, if I could show you how I could sell your home for more money in less time, would you be interested in seeing how I can do that? Now, listen to the words, okay? I didn't ask, can I come over and list your house? I didn't ask, can we get together for a listing appointment? I simply asked, if I could show you how I could sell your home for more money in less time, would you be interested in seeing how I could do that? Now, if I hear no, not yet, I could respond with, are you at least curious to see what I would do? Maybe I can teach you just one thing that you're currently not doing, or maybe your previous agent didn't do that would cause your home to sell? If I could show you that, show you is so important because you're not telling them that. If I could show you that, would you want me to do that? All right, fourth skill set that I want you to work on is best practices for follow-up. Follow-up is a skill set. And the number one reason real estate agents fail is because they don't follow up. Success is in the follow-up. Failure is in the lack of follow-up. And so many of us would say, well, John, I follow up. Okay, here's my question. Do you follow up forever? Or do you follow up until you don't follow up? And the greatest tragedy, there we go, in life is not that we fail, it's that we almost succeed, and there we are. What if you were one more call away from getting the appointment? One more call, one more conversation away from getting the listing appointment, but you gave up because somebody told you that they were not going to hire you. If they ever listed their home, they're hiring Bob. Cool. So you stopped calling. And if you followed up forever because you reject rejection, because no is not a word that lives in your vocabulary, no simply means not yet, eventually they might change their mind. All right, recognizing opportunity and closing for the listing appointment, creating CMAs and mastering pricing strategies. Get on your MLS and just start pulling properties, even if you don't have an appointment, and practice doing comparative market analysis for those properties. Practice doing supply and demand analysis for different price ranges within the market that you currently work. In a coaching conversation yesterday with one of my coaching clients who is focusing on high-end properties, she said that she's getting a lot of rejection, making expired listing calls using I noticed your home came off the market and I'm curious, are you still interested in selling your home? And I said, well, then stop doing that. Try something different. How about just leading off the conversation with, hey, Jeff, I was looking at your home, and for homes in your price range within a 2 to 3 mile radius of your home, there's 12 months of inventory. Did you know that? And if I'm that seller, I'm curious. You're probably going to hear, what does that mean? And then you have an opportunity to show up as the local economist of choice and as a strategic pricing professional because you're different. Because you're different, you're having different conversations. And because you are a real estate professional, you have mastered the market as a local economist of choice, and you understand how supply and demand plays a huge role into the seller's success, either sold or not sold. All right, number 7. Delivering consultative listing presentations to sellers and buyers. All right, don't sell and tell. Ask questions. Focus on the person you're speaking to and their goals first. Listen, this works in recruiting conversation as well. You know, I've recruited, 1,200 agents in the last 7 years. And if I started the conversation with, thank you for coming in, let me tell you why my company is the right company for you. We do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, we offer that, we offer that. I'm selling and telling, and they're glassed over, not even paying attention to me. Now, for me, that conversation sounds more like, talk to me about your business. What does the last 2 years look like? What's going well? Where are you having challenges? Where do you want to be a year from now? If I'm sitting at the listing table, it's simply, if you could accomplish one thing that would cause you to feel you had a successful sale, say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not so great and 10 being great, what needs to happen in the sale of your home for you to consider it a 10? Why is that important to you? What would that do for you? What does that look like? I'm going to go deep and keep asking questions until I know exactly what it's going to take to meet their goals and exceed their expectations. And if I speak to them, if that meeting lasts an hour, at least the first 50% of it is 100% on them and their goals. I am working as a consultant, not as a salesperson who is selling and telling. All right, the 8th skill set that I want you to focus on is overcoming objections. You know, so many salespeople, so many real estate agents look at objections as a problem. They look at it like a fire, and oh my goodness, we got to put this fire out. So I'm going to recommend you don't do that. If anything, pour gasoline on the fire. Ask more questions. Why is that important to you? What does that look like? I'm not going to sell my home unless I can get $500,000. Well, what would getting $500,000 do for you? Why is that important to you? If the market rejects $500,000, just out of curiosity, what's plan B? Stop right there, because you just made them really uncomfortable. They don't know what plan B is. Your job as a professional is to find their pain and fix their pain. You can't do that if you're not asking questions. You should keep a notebook with you and write down every objection you ever hear. Be a collector of objections. And then what I want you to do is I want you to write down 3 responses to that objection. Once you've written down 3 responses, and remember, blah works just as well as blah, 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 blah. So keep your responses short, to the point. Write down 3 responses, and then I want you to PDR those responses. I want you to practice, drill, and rehearse those responses. So next time you're hearing that objection, rather than being inside your head thinking, how am I going to answer this? You know, I've got 1, 2, 3 options here. Which option am I going to use? Now, instead of being inside my head, and the person sitting across the table from me can tell I'm inside my head, I'm not truly listening to me. I can actively listen to Lauren. I can focus on what Lauren is saying to me. I can ask her questions. I can go deeper because I know the response. Now, another thing I want you to write down is SPR. Stimulus, that's the objection. P is pause. R is the response. Too many of us, when we get really, really good at overcoming objections, we forget the P. And I guess you could say we forget 2P. And that pause is important. Stimulus, pause, response, not stimulus, response. When you stimulus, response, boom, there's the answer. You're going to come across as a slick salesperson who's done this thousands of times. You've got to pause before you respond. All right. The 9th skill set that I want you to work on is mastering 3 simple closing strategies. Number 1, simple and direct. Are you ready to get started? That's it. Strategy number 2, alternative choice. Would you like your listing to go active on the 15th of March, or would the 1st of April be better for you? Would you like me to come back next week and take pictures, or would the following week be better for you? Does an asking price of $440,000 sound like the right price, or would $450,000 be better? I'm assuming the close, and I'm using an alternative choice in order to get the close. 1 to 10 close. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being you don't like anything I said and you can't wait for me to leave, and 10 being I'm the right agent for you. Where are we? You're an 8. Awesome. What would it take for me to be a 10? Your commission's too high. Well, that takes us back to number 8. Overcoming objections. And if I were willing to lower my fee, would you hire me today? Yes. Now all you have to do is overcome the objection that you heard and then ask, now on a scale of 1 to 10, where are we? You're a 10. Cool. Ready to get started? All right. The 10th skill set that I want you to focus on is study activity and feedback. And what I mean by that is when you put a home on the market, pay attention to how many showing it's getting. Pay attention to the feedback that you're hearing. The market is talking to you. Now, the market is talking to you even when nobody is showing the property. That's feedback. The market is telling you that you've missed the price, that you've overshot the price, that buyers are rejecting the property based on the asking price. Pay attention to activity, pay attention to feedback, and then make adjustments. If you don't make adjustments, you're headed for failure. Not making adjustments is the same thing as doing the same thing, expecting a different result, which we all know is the definition of insanity. All right, the 11th skill set that I want you to work on is creating buyer and seller urgency. How do you create buyer and seller urgency? Ask great questions. Knew your home was at the highest price it was going to be for the next 5 years, what would you do? The buyer, I love this house. Awesome. You ready to make an offer on it? I think I'd like to sleep on it. Okay, cool. And if you go home and sleep on it and we come back tomorrow and make an offer and you find out that somebody else bought it, how are you going to feel about that? Create buyer and seller urgency. Best way to do that is by asking questions. All right, number 12, ask harm's way questions, which is pretty much what I just did. If the market shifts and there's more homes on the market 3 months from now, 6 months from now than there is today, is it going to be easier to sell your home when there's more competition in 6 months or less competition like there is today? What if waiting meant that you would get less money for your home than you would today? What if the prices drop to a point where you can no longer afford to sell your home? And not only is it not sold 6 months from now, you're still in your home 2 years from now, rather than being in Tampa with your family. How would you feel about that? If your neighbor's home is foreclosed on, is the value of your home going up or is it going down? If interest rates go up, is your home more affordable or less affordable? 13, perspective. Perspective is a skill set. Now, I'm going to give you one book that I want you to read, the best book written on perspective, The Noticer by Andy Andrews. And perspective is being a noticer. Pay attention to what's happening around you. Notice things that other people are missing because you've mastered the skill set of perspective. And remember that perspective is the only thing that can dramatically change the outcome of an event without changing any of the facts. Number 14, negotiating offers is a skill set. And I want you to do one thing to become a master at negotiating offers. Don't be attached to the outcome. If you are unattached, as in you don't care if this deal comes together or not, you're going to work it, you're going to do your job, you're going to do everything you can to meet your client's goals, not your goals, then you are going to be more effective as a negotiator than you will be if you need the contract to come together. All right, 15th and final, service first, sales second. Focus on providing raving fan customer service, and you will have more business than you know what to do with. When you exceed expectations, you get referrals. Think about the last time you went out to dinner and the manager stopped by and asked, is everything okay? It's a terrible question. My response, my wife gets mad at me about this, is I always want to respond with, yeah, everything's okay, food's okay, service is okay, restaurant's okay, everything is just okay. I can't wait to go home and call all my friends and tell them about this dinner we had where everything was okay. You need to go try that. No. Exceed expectations. All right, take yourself off mute. Talk to me.
I have a question. Hold on a second. It was about the stimulus pause thing. Can you do an example of that?
Yeah. So, Eileen, you shared with me, John, I feel that your commission is too high. Now, I can take the pause out because this is one that I've answered thousands of times, and I'm really excited because I got this, right? John, I feel like your commission is too high. Eileen, if I were willing to lower my fee, would you hire me today? Yes, cool. Can I share with you why that concerns me? All right. There's no pause. A better way to handle this would be, John, I feel like your commission is too high. Okay. So Eileen, my commission is too high. Yes, it is. Got it. And that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, if I were you, I would want to net the most amount of money possible too. I think that's a really good response. I think it's a really good question. And if I were willing to lower my fee, would you hire me today? All right, there's a pause there. It may not be the best example, but it's the one that immediately came to mind.
Okay.
All right. Now, it exists everywhere else. Like you're calling a for sale by owner. For sale by owner says, do you have a buyer? And you respond really quick with, I won't know until I see your home. A pause would simply mean, what I'm hearing you say, Eileen, is you don't want to show your home unless I bring a buyer. Is that correct? And like, yeah, that's it. Cool. I understand. And I won't know if I have, okay. So there's another example. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
Yep. Who's next?
I'll go, John. So a couple weeks ago, I sat in on your morning session, and one of the scripts you gave was, if I could bring you an offer, would you consider it or accept it? And I ended up having a listing appointment that day, and they didn't want to market their home out to the public. But I said, if I could bring you an offer, would you consider it and accept it? And she immediately said, yeah. And then she looked at her husband and said, I think so, right? And so that, I didn't have that script in my tool bag until that day, until I heard you say it, and it just came to me, and it worked like a charm.
Love that. Jeff, let me piggyback on that, okay? I think in that situation, you're sitting at the table, and is this, were they a for sale by owner? Were they expired, or were they somebody else?
They were waiting to sell because of capital gains. And
yes. Okay. What's their time frame?
About 6 months.
Okay. So they're waiting to sell for 6 months because of capital gains. However, if you had an offer, they would want you to bring you the offer.
Yes.
Are you hearing what I'm hearing?
I heard it.
Well, what I'm hearing is they're not really waiting 6 months.
Correct.
Now, the next question I would ask them is, what's your asking price in case I have an offer for you? Now, Jeff, give me a number, like we're role playing here, okay? What's your asking price in case I have an offer for you?
We want 1.5 million.
Got it. And if a buyer showed up at your front door a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, or 30 days from now with $1.5 million cash offer, what would you do?
We would consider it.
Okay. What if you had to choose between selling and not selling? You've got a $1.5 million cash offer. What are you doing?
We would sell it at that point.
There you go. And if your home's not on the market, what are the odds that you're going to have that buyer show up with a $1.5 million offer?
Not good.
Yeah. Now, if we waited 6 months and the market dropped, how far would it have to drop before you're losing more by waiting 6 months than you are by selling it now and paying capital gains taxes?
We would lose money.
6 months from now or today?
6 months from now.
So what do you think you should do?
We should probably consider this offer.
Okay. I think you've got a really good opportunity here. Stay in touch with them, keep asking great questions, and I promise you're going to get this listing.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, guys, I'm going to check the chat before we jump. It's 8:59. Juanita, I'm glad you made it back, and thank you for being here today. Molly asked, what does it mean to wait for capital gains? Jeff, you want to explain that, or you want me to take it?
So they haven't owned the house for 2 years yet, but they're ready to go, and they've got 6 months to go until their 2-year mark, when capital gains would drop off.
There you go. Great job, Jeff. Thank you. Megan says the pause could be in the form of a question. The function of the pause is to not jump straight to a response. Amen. What she said. Write it down. Tara says the longer you sleep on it, someone could be sleeping in it. I love that. Are you sure you want to sleep on it? Tara always has magic. Thank you for bringing that, Tara. Love it. Okay. All right, guys, thank you for being here today. I appreciate all of you. If you liked what you heard, please tell someone else. Help us grow the group. If you didn't like what you heard, don't tell anybody. And make it a great day. See everybody tomorrow morning at 8:30.
Thank you, John.
My pleasure. Great seeing you, Moseline.
Thank you so much, John.
You got it, Juanita. Stay in touch, please.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Got it, Michelle.
Bye.
Good seeing you.